guys doing well? Enjoying your break? Today we're going to be talking about writing equations of lines. Now, equations of lines is very extensive. We're only going to cover a little bit of it. And one of the most important things that we're going to remind you of is something called slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. And if you remember, that is when we have y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. B is what's called the y-intercept. And just as a little quick review, the slope is your rise divided by your run. It tells you how quickly the line is going up, or if the slope is negative, how quickly it's going down. The y-intercept is this point right here. That point always has an x-intercept of 0 and a y-intercept of some number. This could be 1, 5, 1/2, -2, doesn't matter. Now, let's start to take a look at writing our equations of lines. So, here we have, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given by the slope and y-intercept. So look what we have. We have our m, which is -1/5, and our y-intercept, which is -2. So if we look at our equation again, y equals mx plus b, we take our slope of m, plug it in, and get y equals -1/5 x plus -2. We don't usually leave plus -2 there, so we're just going to write it as y equals -1/5 x minus 2 for a final answer. Let's take a look at some more problems. So write the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line through the given point and given slope. So we know that our slope is -5, and we have a point here. This is not our y-intercept now, so we can't just take 1 and plug it in for b. We have to do a little bit more work here. So we're going to start off with y equals mx plus b. If we think about this as a point, 1 is really an x value, and the 0 is a y value. So we can plug in an x, a y, and an m. What that will do is allow us to find this b or y-intercept. So let's do that. Y is 0 equals m is -5 times 1 plus b. 0 equals -5 plus b. And if we add 5 to both sides, we get b equals 5. Now, that's not our answer, but that's the other piece we needed. So we have our y-intercept now and our slope. So we can go ahead and write our equation. Y equals -5x plus 5. And that's our answer. Let's take a look at one more of these. So again, we have an x, we have a y, and we have an m. So let's plug in. Y equals mx plus b. Y is 5 equals, our slope is -1/3. Our x value is -3 plus b. So 5 equals, negative times negative is a positive, and 1/3 times 3 is 3/3, or just 1, plus b. We subtract 1 from both sides, and we get b equals 4. So we have our b value, we have our slope, so let's write our equation. Y equals -1/3 x plus 4. And there's our answer. Now, they've given us the slope in these problems. Let's see what happens when they don't give us the slope. We have 2 points here. Now, on a previous lesson, we learned that we can find the slope by plugging into our slope formula. And just a reminder, your slope formula is m equals one of the y's minus the other y divided by one of the x's minus the other x. Just make sure that we keep our x's and y's paired together. So I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2, which is 5, minus y1, which is 0, over x2, which is 5 also, minus x1, which is 2. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So we had to work a little bit to get our slope. Not bad though. But now, what point do we use when we go back to our y equals mx plus b? Guess what? It doesn't matter. We could use the 5, 5 point, or in my opinion, 2, 0. That's nice to use because you got a 0 here. But you could use either one of these now. So I'm going to again just write 2, 0 just to remind me that I'm going to use that point. And I have my slope here. So here's your x and your y. So plug in 0 for y equals 5/3 times 2 plus b. 0 equals, well, 2 is really 2 over 1. So 5 times 2 is 10 thirds plus b. And if we subtract 10 thirds, we get a b value of negative 10 thirds. Not the best fraction, but it still works. So here's our y-intercept. Here's our slope. Let's put it all together. Y equals a slope of 5/3 x, and then our y-intercept is minus 10/3. And that's our answer. Not too bad. Let's try one more together. So in this last example, number 5, we see we have an x value of negative 1. So x sub 1 is negative 1. Y sub 1 is 1. X sub 2 is 1. And y sub 2 is 4. So let's go ahead and find our slope. Slope equals our y2 of 4 minus our y1 of 1. Divided by our x2 of 1 minus our x1 of negative 1. Be careful with that. You don't want to just write 1 minus 1. It's 1 minus the negative 1. So we have 4 minus 1, or 3, and 1 minus negative 1, minus negative becomes plus. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So there's our slope. We now need our y-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Again, it doesn't matter which point we use. You might say, I want to use these points because these numbers are smaller. You might say you want to use this point because you have all positive numbers. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to use this one over here because I like not to have to worry about negative numbers. So our y value is 4 equals, our m is 3 halves times 1 plus b. 4 equals 3 halves times 1 is 3 halves plus b. Subtract 3 halves from both sides. We get b equals 4 minus 3 halves. Well, we got to do a little computation over here. So 4 over 1 minus 3 over 2. Our common denominator is 2. So if I multiply this by 2 over 2, I get 8 over 2 minus 3 over 2, or 5 halves. So b equals 5 halves. Now don't forget, we're not done. What am I looking for? The equation of the line. So my answer should be y equals our slope of 3 halves, x plus 5 halves. And that's our answer. Hopefully if you enjoyed this video, and it'll help you out when you're doing your homework. Have a great day!